All right, everyone, welcome back to another video. And in the spirit of making videos every day, I wanted to give you one that was super practical. And this is a question, it's not actually that complicated to answer, and people do ask it a lot. So yeah, let me not waste any time. People want to know how to be credentialed with insurance companies outside of platforms like ALMA and Headway, those kind of things. Now, people might also be asking, well, why would you even want to be credentialed outside of ALMA, Headway, and those kind of things? And I think there's a couple of reasons. The first is if you are starting a group practice and you're hiring LMSWs and you want to accept insurance, you are probably going to want to know about supervisory or incident to billing. I just made a video all about it. I'll leave a link to that down below in the description so you can learn a bit more. But essentially it allows LMSWs or provisionally licensed therapists to provide services to folks, and then you can still submit claims to the insurance company. Now you can only do that if you're credentialed on your own, okay? Outside of ALMA, Headway, those kind of places. Number two is ALMA and Headway, as great as they are with getting providers credentialed and that kind of thing, we don't really know how long they'll last, right? They're fairly new. I mean, they're not like brand new companies, but they're fairly new. So we don't really know how long they'll last. And so, you know, if you want to be credentialed outside of them, it could be a good safety net if those companies are to ever disappear or, you know, whatever might happen to them. Another reason is if you ever just want to go outside of ALMA or Headway for whatever reason, you don't want to work with them, you're just, I don't know, like if you just decide you don't want that, then being credentialed on your own is going to be helpful, because right now, if you leave ALMA or Headway, your credentialing with them ends immediately. So if, for example, if you're part of ALMA, you're credentialed with all the insurers that they work with. The moment you leave ALMA, you're no longer credentialed, right? But if you're credentialed independently, you remain credentialed until you end the contract. All right. So we won't dive into too much detail about what it means to be paneled with insurance companies. I've made videos about that before. You can look around the channel. But I really want to answer the question, how do you do it? All right. There's going to be basically two ways of doing it. The first is to do it completely on your own, right? And so what you would end up doing in this case is going onto the insurance company's website. So for example, let's say it's Cigna. You'll go to their website, you'll find the provider portion of their website, and then you'll find a link to getting credentialed or to joining their network. Sometimes they call it that. And they'll probably have you fill out an application. You'll have to fill out the CAQH profile, which is this universal profile that all insurers use. So no matter who you decide to panel with, you're probably going to be doing the CAQH profile, the Cigna application, and then you have to kind of submit all the documentation they want, and then you're kind of waiting and going back and forth, and it's up to you to follow up and to kind of figure out any missing questions. If they want something, you don't know what it is, you have to figure it out. But regardless, that's one option. Now, I think a lot of people make that option seem impossible. It is difficult. It is definitely difficult. I didn't use that option. I'll tell you what I did in just a minute. But it's not impossible. But it is going to cost you a lot of time because you're going to be following up, doing everything on your own. So you're going to pay with time, basically, right? But people are able to do it, right? The other way you can get credentialed with insurance companies is to hire a company, a credentialing company. Now, that's what I did. Now, I know there are a ton of sketchy credentialing companies out there. I don't know about you, but I get tons of texts from random people asking if I want to get credentialed. I don't know how these people get my information. So I know that there are sketchy credentialing companies, but there are also some very legit credentialing companies as well. So I'm not biased towards one particular company. I did use a company called Greenpoint Med. They were professional. They worked well. They were a little bit pricey. I will admit that, but they got the job done. They were super responsive as they, with all my questions. I asked them tons of questions, and they were always happy to answer those questions. And not to mention, they gave me some tips and tricks for working through the contracts and things like that. So I would recommend them. But again, there are a lot of companies out there. Just kind of do your due diligence, word of mouth, make sure you read the reviews. But essentially, you hire a credentialing company, and they're not doing anything novel. they're basically on your behalf. They're going to fill out the applications. They'll kind of work on the, they'll kind of go back and forth with the company. They'll follow up on any loose ends. They'll help you fill out the applications. So they really just help do the, kind of guide you along the process and do much of it for you, but not everything. You still have to fill out some profiles and complete some paperwork. So it's not totally hands-off, but it is much, much easier than doing it on your own. And that's the route that I chose. And the reason I chose it was one, I wanted to invest my time into continuing to see clients and not spend too much time fumbling through applications. And then number two, I knew this company knew more about credentialing than I did, so I figured I would also be learning about the credentialing process, and I was able then to use them as a resource so I can ask different questions. That's how I learned a bit about Incident 2 supervisory billing, and I learned a lot from the credentialing process working with that company. So those are the two ways you can go about doing it. Nothing mind-blowing here, but I think you have to decide, if I am looking to get credentialed outside of ALMA and Headway, am I willing to invest the time to do it on my own? Or do I want to, invest my time somewhere else, but invest money into a company? Anyway, I'll leave links to everything I talked about down below. This video is pretty short, pretty practical. I hope you find this helpful, and I will see you in the next video.